don't leave crumbs.
Homemade breadcrumbs are going to taste better. You'll save money.
Let's make breadcrumbs.
The easiest way is to start from the beginning, Gil. How did you get involved with Castle Stuart?
So we had our very first golf course that we ever did was at Craighead, Crail Golfing Society down the road from King's Barnes. And we were finishing up about the time that Mark Parsinen was kind of getting involved at King's Barnes. And he'd come over and seen what we did. And obviously the sites are completely different, Craighead to King's Barnes, but he, I think, saw that there was something in what we were doing. And then just by happenstance, we had a mutual friend, Colin Sheehan, who was having dinner with Mark in New York City, invited me to come along. And this was about the time Mark was planning to get ready to go up to Castle Stuart. And so we had a really good chat about possibly getting involved with him, much as he had worked with Kyle Phillips at King's Barnes. And Mark invited me to come over to Scotland to walk the site with him, which he had already identified for all the various characteristics of what he thought would make for good links golf. And yeah, then all of a sudden we were working together, which was fantastic.
Wow. And what year was this?
That would have been probably 2006, 2005, 2006. We broke ground in 2007 on Castle Stuart.
Yeah. For those of our listeners that don't know, Mark Parsinen was a visionary in himself and was heavily involved in King's Barnes beforehand, and obviously has a very keen eye for this sort of thing. What was it like working with him?
Mark was a genius, and unfortunately left us way too early. He was just brilliant in everything that he observed and thought about golf. It's interesting when you get into these collaborations, you never know which way they're going to go. Are they going to be good? Are you going to battle? Or are you going to fight? But I know Jim Wagner, my partner, and I, we learned so much from Mark. I mean, he was so thoughtful about design, about the average golfer, how they appreciate and approach golf, how golf courses need to be playable, wide, linksy. He focused an awful lot as well on the visual dynamics of the site. I mean, lining up a lot of the holes at Castle Stuart to take advantage of distant views, over to Fortrose and Rosemarkie or to the Black Isle, down the Murray Firth. So there were a lot of things that Mark really brought to the table for us, and we loved the opportunity. We've always been focused on designing in the field, and Mark gave us basically the biggest canvas we'd ever worked on to that point, to design in the field. And with him step by step with us, and Stuart McCollum, the other lieutenant on the project. Obviously Stuart had worked at King's Barnes alongside Mark, so we had a great team, all of us pulling in the same direction. Although at the start it was interesting. There was a little bit of as Mark said, when we needed to find the code, it was both teams, and you hate to say it because it really, at the end of the day, it was such a great partnership. But it was sort of like Jim and I coming to the project from one team, and Mark and Stuart from the other team, and it was you kind of bounce around each other a little bit. Who gets the final say, and who does this, and et cetera. And to Mark's everlasting credit, he could have done this at every single turn, but he never once pulled the owner card. He never said, "Hey, I'm the owner. This is the way I want it." He was willing to discuss and talk a subject to the death, and really just get into it so much that you're constantly looking over things and talking until everybody on the team came out of it feeling good about what we built. And that's an amazing quality for any human being, no matter what you do, whether it's golf, architecture, or business. But he was a tremendous man.
Well, I think the routing is certainly something I want to get on to shortly, because I genuinely believe it's some of the most astounding routing that I've ever played, and ingenious in the way that it leads your eye places. How did that collaboration with Mark work? Did you work together on the routing, or was it mostly your design team, or how did that work?
It was actually mostly Mark. Mark had spent a lot more time on site prior to us coming there. And so he had a lot of observations and a lot of ideas that he brought to the table. And then he asked us to look at it and almost deconstruct it and see if we could figure out a better way. And his beliefs were focused a lot on the quality of the ground. Was more, since we were manufacturing the links anyway, he felt like holes down along the water were going to have a sense of place, but he thought that was a better sense of place to start the front nine and the back nine, as opposed to finishing down there. Again, sort of also the transport up to the top. But he felt like the upper shelves, holes 5 through 9, and then also holes 13 through 18 on the back were really the important part of the puzzle, to basically be up above and experience the views, the long distance views, but also the views back down over the water. So we were quite happy the way he had organized it. And he obviously had a lot of change of direction. I think the major changes that we made to his routing were holes 2 and 3. 3 became a shorter par 4. 2 became a little bit longer par 5. And then the way that 11 and 12, kind of 10, 11, 12, changing those around, they were in a different order. It was 10, then 11 was a hole that played up top, and then you played a par 3 before he made the transition to 13. So it was, really just minor tweaking. A couple holes front, couple holes on the back. But Mark had pretty much laid out everything when we got started.